So I've written another book, and I've written it because I think there are questions that we are asking ourselves day in, day out. Like, do you ever wonder when you're going to figure it all out and start winning? Do you ever wonder when all the pieces are going to come together and they're going to fall into place and suddenly everything's going to make sense? Because right now it feels like you were the only person who wasn't there that day in school when they told everybody else how this whole weird, messed up system that we live in today works, and you're the only one who left school and you weren't armed with that knowledge. Do you ever find yourself thinking, there must be more to life than this? More than the traffic jams and the Monday to Friday, more to life than just making ends meet while you run on that treadmill that goes nowhere, and while it puts a roof over your head and food on the table, it leaves you questioning, is this what life's all about? Is this, what's this all for? Is life really about just sitting at a desk every day for 40 years, tapping away at a keyboard like a battery hen, just pecking away at grain, while you just wait for retirement so you can finally live and have the freedom to do what you want to do and really enjoy life just for like the last couple of decades if you're lucky at the end of your life? Is it really about following that conventional path? Go to school, go to college, get a job, buy a house, eat, sleep, work, rinse and repeat? When did we start living to work rather than working to live? And who decided all of this anyway? Whose plan are we working to? Because as the great Jim Rohn said, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you're going to fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Do you have a plan? I know I don't, or at least I didn't. But then every day as I was getting the train to the office, I would see this graffiti on the wall next to the railway line. And I would just catch a glimpse of it. It was quite long. And so every day I'd keep an eye out for it so I could catch a little bit more and a little bit more. And then eventually I figured out what it said. And this is pretty highbrow for graffiti, but it said, beneath the threshold of consciousness, everything was seething with life. So I Googled it, I looked it up. It's a quote by Carl Jung, the philosopher and psychologist. And it really made me think. This existence where we get up every day and we put on our uniforms, our suits and ties or our overalls, or we wear the fashion that is conventional for our clique and our tribe and our culture, and where we identify with and function according to our job descriptions and with our targets and our KPIs, and where our future is dictated by the tests and exams we were made to take when we were just teenagers decades ago. It's only a small part of the story, a tiny part of reality. Because the measurable world of rules and regulations and Newtonian physics and pay rises and office politics and printer errors, the world of the quantifiable and the profitable and the credit agreements and the fibre optic broadband and the streaming video, is just one facet of a much more dynamic and expansive universe that we, you and me, are at the heart of, at the very centre of. Because yes, there's more to life. But more than that, yes, we can create the life, the reality and the world that we want. But we're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to be able to spread our wings and fly while we're still restricted by the limitations imposed on us up here by the system, by ourselves, up here on the surface. And we're not going to find the tools we need to liberate ourselves from that by looking for them out there. We need to start looking in here. Because when we take Jung's advice and peer beneath the threshold of consciousness, we begin to see that the world that we function in every day is just a fraction of our infinite universe. And by diving beneath the surface into the world of dreams and poetry and art and ideas and imagination, that world that we were born into, but since then we've long forgotten it, when we can dive into that, our universe can become much, much bigger. Infinitely bigger. By opening ourselves up to the possibilities lying beneath Jung's threshold, where nothing is impossible, everything becomes possible. And not just in the abstract world of dreams and imagination, but here in the physical world too. If we can find the courage to embrace our spiritual side, we are, after all, spiritual beings having a human experience. If we can be open-minded enough to accept that there might be more out there than what we can just buy or Google, then we can have the courage to say life is too short to spend being afraid. It's too short to worry about what other people are going to think. It's too short to worry about what might go wrong when we should instead be asking ourselves, what could go right? And this isn't woo-woo nonsense. This isn't some spiritual blah blah. We've all seen those other realities. When we go to sleep and dream, when we lose ourselves in those flow states of exercise or sport, or when we're in engaging work and we don't even notice the time going by, when we get drawn into art and music and the stories in books and movies, we're taking a glimpse at this other side, this other vast expanse of the universe. And the universe, it's here for you. It's full of infinite possibilities where you can converse with Shakespeare or meet people who haven't been born yet, or hang out with others who only exist in fiction in the pages of books. There are no boundaries except those which we impose on ourselves, and these boundaries are stopping us from expressing our unique, immaculate weirdness and living the life that was designed for us. We weren't designed to sit at desks or drive cars or refill toner or fill out forms and applications and contracts. We were designed to be bizarre and beautiful and unique, amorphous and wonderful. Yet we spend our lives trying to squash ourselves into unnatural pigeonholes because that's what our system needs us to do in order for it to keep functioning. So it's vital that we find ways to embrace our spirituality, our intrinsic humanity, that little bit of extra that takes our lives from the ordinary to the extraordinary, to break free from the confines of the system and the imaginary limitations that we impose on ourselves and start colouring outside the lines. And we must do it now because life is short. Whatever that might mean to you, whether it means dressing in period costumes and doing battle reenactments at the weekend, or whether it means, you could start your own world-changing, multi-billion-dollar business, whether it means learning salsa or a foreign language or taking painting or cookery classes, we need to find ways to connect with that spirit that wants us to shape and craft and colour our world by living up to our true potential as spiritual beings, albeit living this human experience. This book, then, is a call to action. It's the sign you've been waiting for to stand up and start living, to embrace your immaculate weirdness and do those things, start those projects, spread your wings and have the courage to fly. So I've called it Shine Manifesto, because it's time to stop waiting for your moment and understand that it's been your moment all along. It's time to stop making excuses and finally, gloriously, shine.